Good afternoon and welcome to Between Two Teapots. We are here today with Shiuwen of Floating Leaves. How you doing, Shiuwen?
Pretty good. A little bit too excited.
Too excited.
First of all,
Yeah.
First of all, it's very excited to be on your Between Two Teapots
Yeah.
program. And then second is it's like I normally have this kind of teaware at a shop actually, so I'm like rushing back, carry some stuff, and then boom, I gotta set up this with you. So it's like a lot of excitement happening today.
So you're brewing tea from home today, right? So you rushed home. So let's see this is Between Two Teapots. So let's see the teapot that you're gonna be using today.
Sure. Today I'm going to since you said we're going to start with pu'er, right?
We are going to start with the pu'er, yeah.
Oh, so today will be about teapots? Okay, cool.
Sure. Teapots, tea, everything. So
yay!
What do you got there?
I think that they sometimes call. Just to be honest with everybody, I am not an expert on the clays, and then I think sometimes they call this duani, which I'm not actually positive if it is, but I do like this kind of a color and clay to brew, especially sheng pu'er with.
Okay, so you've got that one dedicated for sheng pu'er?
Sometimes so forth, but mostly sheng pu'er actually, yeah.
Okay.
And since you gifted me that sheng pu'er for me to drink,
yes.
I'm going to do it with this teapot.
Awesome, thank you. So I am using, I actually just put some water in it, but look at this is
beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice little what is this, a shui ping style? Is that the I think that's a shui ping style. I think it's a shui ping style. I get a little confused. There's so many interesting and fun styles, and the names and stuff kind of all run together in my head after a while. But this is it's Gen Shui. It's one of the ones that we've had custom made for us. Which we actually have some more, and I'm hoping to get them onto the site maybe as early as this weekend, depending on.
Wow.
It's Mother's Day, you know. It's gonna be busy.
True.
Yeah. So if your son's in the background, he needs to remember it's Mother's Day. Don't forget.
I think he just ran away.
Yeah. If anybody else is in the chat or if they're watching and they've forgotten their mothers this weekend, don't forget.
It's this Sunday. I kind of forgot too.
It's this Sunday. Yeah. So yes, Michelle's. Sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say Jian Shui pots, is it like a specific place in Yunnan, and then it deal with specific clay?
Yeah, it's a town in Yunnan. It's called Jianshui. It's about 3-4 hours south of Kunming, and they have a long several 100 years history of mining clay from that area, and the teaware aspect of it is relatively new. In the past, like they made traditional Chinese, like vases and things, and they're really well known for clay chicken soup cookers. That's their thing. But they're really interesting because they actually have a funnel going up into the inside. And so you just put raw chicken and oil and all the stuff in the pot, and then you stick it over your steamer, and then it fills it with boiling water and it steams it in the clay. It's really good. It's actually really delicious. We've got one around somewhere. I need to have Lamu make some more Jian Shui chicken soup. But with the popularity of sheng and teaware and all that stuff, they made a concerted effort to bring in Jian Shui potters, sheng potters and sheng artists to train the locals. It was a very conscientious decision that they made, 20-ish or so years ago, and slowly they've been building up a skill pool. And the teaware coming out of there now is really nice. So they do all sorts of stuff, and so we work with some potters there and have them, tell them what I want, like this specification, this shape, this size, and it's different than sheng. It brews different. The clay is really dense, and
nice.
sheng, a lot of times the different blends has maybe more mineral content, or it's a little bit more porous. So this is more of like a pure clay without the extra stuff, which I mean, it has pros and cons. One of the things is like the sand and the extra minerals add structure to the other clay, and so it makes it so genshui, you can't get the really fine, super thin like handles and stuff, and you can't get the micro thin walls. But for pu'er, which generally kind of likes things hotter, I think genshui actually works really good. And then I'm just excited about like the idea that like, you know, like the tea comes out of the Yunnan soil, and so does the clay and things like that. And I just kind of, you know, nerd out at little things like that.
Oh, cool. I should get one to try pu'er in there.
You should.
Yeah. I think that'll be really fun.
It is. It's nice because I enjoy, you know, I Ching as well, but it's so much harder for me to get there. And, you know, I'm really hands on, and I just want to be able to like work with the potters, and I don't have time to spend, you know, like a couple years in I Ching, like learning all the ins and outs of, you know, like the clay and the potters and the artists and all of that stuff to really be able to give my customers something reliable.
True. I understand that's part of business.
So we are brewing. This is a 2007 Changtai sheng pu'er. They call it the Menghai To. It's Menghai area, and it was actually aged in Zishuangbana, which is relatively humid for at least like 10, 12, 13 years, somewhere around then. I think relatively recently it was moved to Kunming. So what we have now is actually stored in Kunming. So
in Kunming is much drier.
Well, it is, but it's not as like dry as people really think. It's not desert dry. You'd be surprised, especially, and it depends on where you are. Like our facility is closer to the big lake, and so it does get a lot of humidity and breezes and stuff that come off there. So it's definitely more temperate. But if you get further up into like the mountains and things, but like I said, Kunming itself is a big location, and so I wouldn't. True. I mean, now that I guess I myself wouldn't consider it the dry that a lot of people do, but it's definitely drier than Hong Kong, and it's drier than Taiwan, of course. So
yes.
But
Taiwan is so dry, so wet. I mean, humid. This was
just such a really nice little Changtai offering, and we were just happy to be able to get it, and it's, you know, actually it's super affordable, $20 for 100 grams. That's really not.
Yeah, it is. And I actually just put the leaf in the warm up pot. I even didn't really put hot water in it yet. Yeah. And it has a little bit chocolate smell, actually. Nice. It reminds me of chocolate.
That's one of my favorite things, is the warming pot and putting it in there and just letting the leaves just kind of warm up for a minute and smelling that, because oftentimes you'll catch aromas. I mean, you know this, but oftentimes you'll catch aromas that might not be, you know, available later on, or they're maybe overhidden. So
and a little bit of herbs and a little bit sweetness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. These are good. These are good notes. Thank you.
I hope so.
You're putting me on the spot when we get to the oolong. So
no need to say those things. I just say whatever comes to me.
Nice.
Okay, let me see.
So we've got a handful of people in the chat that have said hi. Wee Wolf is here. Jugpan is here. Adriana Foster. Heidi Berger. Somebody named Wolfie Wolf. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that is. And Oolong Owl. We know Oolong Owl. That's Shar. Shar's.
Yes.
Shar. You guys you've had tea with Shar tons of times, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's been more than a year though. I think I haven't. Yeah, I know, with anybody, you know. Yeah. But I miss Shar. I miss having tea with you.
So for people who don't know, you run a physical tea shop, and you also run an online tea shop called Floating Leaves. So if you guys have come in and you're like my customers and you don't know anything about oolong, the person to learn it from is definitely Shiuwen. So she is.
Thank you.
She is the oolong expert. And actually, I think we met like, maybe even just before we had started Crimson Lotus Tea, like 2013, the summer of 2013. So I think we started Crimson Lotus Tea in the fall. And I think like that summer we were trying to kind of like figure out, like, do we really want to do this, you know, like pu'er tea thing? Still didn't know much about it. And so we looked up the internet, so there's a handful of shops around. So we went to your shop, and we came in, and like you were very nice, and we sat down and we were talking about tea, and then you're like, so what do you want to drink? And I'm like, I really want to drink pu'er. And she's like, why does everybody want to drink pu'er? Everybody comes into my store, they tell me they want to drink pu'er. I sell oolong. I don't know anything about pu'er. It was so funny.
Did I really say that?
Yeah. Everybody comes in my store and asks me about pu'er. And I was like, I don't know. Like I'm just trying to learn about tea. So I think you brewed us up a bunch of different stuff, anyways. But you were very nice, and it was just a very memorable moment for us. And you're so much fun. You're so much fun to have tea with. If
I think I can be a little bit like too crazy when it comes to tea, and sometimes my mood is like super good or super bad.
You are a lot of
like
fun.
An angel, and sometimes I'm like why are you here? Why are you here?
What are you doing in my store?
Wasting my time. Get out. No.
We've got our first question in chat. Actually, it's an oolong question from Spoolstring. Why has Tiguanyin been crossbred so recently? What about Muja and the old style? I don't know.
Do you mean?
I don't know. Spoolstring. She doesn't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
No. First, what do you mean by they have been crossbreed?
That was the question. Yeah.
So ask him a lot or her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Him or her.
Spoolstring. What are you talking about? Can you expand on your question a little bit? And so yeah, actually, after we finish drinking this, we do have an oolong that we are going to drink as well. So
yeah,
now's the time to ask Shiuwen all of your pu'er questions. We're gonna dig down and see how much.
Bring it on. Before I join, I already have a small sip of scotch. I'm ready to go. No problem.
Spoolstring says it seems hard to find original. So
yes.
Yeah.
So that will be a yes. So just to let you know, to make a old school Taiwan tea takes about 4 to 5 days.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that's first reason. Second, after it's done, a lot of people just keep it. They don't even drink it because it can be really hard.
Yeah.
And for a seller's point of view, it's not very efficient and economical. Also, there's a style tea that is not, let me put it that way, it's not widely appreciated at the modern time.
Interesting.
So all the effects went into their decision on if they want to produce a tea like that. It really takes a long time, and it takes a lot of skills. And when you really spend 5 days to make a tea that not a lot of people want to buy to begin with, it's really hard on the farmers. And the cost is really high, to make those.
That makes sense. Spoolstring said Jinchuan seems to always be in the tea now. They like old style roasted, a deep tea. Now they think things are more floral.
Yeah, and so I think did he mention Jinchuan?
Yes.
Okay, Jinchuan is a varietal though.
Okay.
Jinchuan can be roasted too.
Okay.
And sure, Tieguanyin in Taiwan will be a varietal called Hongxing Wai Wei Tao, and the growth is really slow.
Okay.
And yeah, so you're taking all of those into a consideration, like slow growth, long time to make, a lot of skills, not as much appreciated, super expensive. Okay, sometimes we'll be like, never mind. I can still find it though, but I don't want to carry it because it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And expensive, I mean that when I find it, sometimes it's 500 USD per 600 grams when I have to pay for it. So
this is the thing that sometimes people don't really understand. I mean, we as retailers and sourcers and sellers of tea have a whole bunch of things we have to consider before something can actually be purchased for sale. And it's sometimes it's very complicated, and sometimes we have to pass on teas that that I like because it's just not economical. And that's sometimes kind of hard to explain. But it's funny because so we did a last night or yesterday morning. Shiuwen and I had a test stream. We do that. I did that with everybody, and it's funny the things that that tea like vendors talk about in private. Like we were talking about cardboard. Like we spent 15 minutes talking about cardboard because that's a lot of what I spend my time doing. I work with cardboard makers, and I have to specify cardboard. I know more about cardboard now than I knew before. And you were saying like there's cardboard shortages in Taiwan now, and so
in Taiwan, it's like small manufacturers. It's an island. There are not a lot of materials in there, and we just started to launch a shipping center there. I didn't know that cardboard and boxes are gonna be a huge issue because in Seattle, that's so easy to buy a cardboard box, any size that you want, any size.
Whatever I want. I go to uline.com, like I click a couple buttons, and then like a day later, like a giant truck pulls up in front of my house. I'm like, thanks guys. See you next time. Yeah.
And so it's you are right. A lot of times people couldn't, they don't know what we are really doing when we deal with tea business. I guess a lot of business. And also I just want to do a big shout out to Glenn at Crimson Lotus Tea is I'm underneath a lot of stress because this part of business is very new to me, and to be able to talk to somebody who have experienced this. Even though, yes, the issue is not resolved, but it's just like almost like somebody who know me, know my problem. Is like, thank you.
Yeah. So we put so much like thought and effort into our cardboard boxes, we ship a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, maybe people in chat don't want to hear this, but you're gonna hear it anyways. This is a tea chat between Shiuwen and I. So here, cardboard weighs a lot. Like you don't really you don't think about how much cardboard weighs until you're sitting there like with like a 2 kilo max window that like China Post e-packet allows for like the best rates and things, and your average cardboard box can be 250 to 500 grams, and that's literally 1/4 of the weight of your max limit. And so now that means that you can only actually put 1.5 kilos worth of tea into that box, right? And so like finding that fine line between like the box has to be really strong, but then this box can't like weigh a lot, there's like, so we eventually came to the conclusion and realized that like we didn't care what happened to the cardboard box as long as the label stayed on there the entire time. Like if so we bubble wrap everything, so all of our protection comes from the bubble wrap. The cardboard is just there to hold the bubble wrap in and keep the label on. And our boxes get destroyed. People are always sending pictures of these boxes. You couldn't believe this box that came in. It looks like somebody was playing soccer with it. But the teaware and the tea inside, totally fine. But like that box only lasted long enough to get from China to America with the label on it intact. That's all I wanted. So
good. Yeah. So anyway, I drank the first infusion on this 2007 Changtai.
2007 Changtai, yeah.
Okay, cool, pu'er cake and torta. I mean, and it's actually really solid. It stays on the tongue really well.
Yeah.
And for I would say you say it's like $20.
Yeah.
For $20, it's good.
Yeah. So and it really is. And this is that's an interesting window. But we were chatting a little bit about Changtai and Changtai's history and stuff, like yesterday and stuff. And once like the bubble like burst and things got weird with pu'er tea in like 2008, 9 around then and stuff. I've not really found much Changtai stuff after that was actually really that worth it. So the time before that, I'm excited when I can find interesting stuff that's good value. If I'm missing people's questions in chat, put it in bold and I'll get to it. There was one more. Let's see, because we can just answer it. Do questions. We can chat. We can do whatever. looks like we've got a decent number of your customers in the chat here. Some people are talking about some of the high mountain Alishan. Oh, I guess you included a sample of a high mountain Alishan in their order of charcoal roasted Tiguanyin and medium roast. Somebody wanted to know if there's any faux show coming in soon.
Faux show. We'll be looking. That's not Jake, right? Jake always like to say faux show to me.
Yeah, I know. I do. That's my. I like that joke too. And you sell just Taiwanese oolongs. You don't sell Chinese yancha or anything, or?
Not at this moment. It's well. First of all, it's too expensive. Also, really on the price side, and it's like hard for me to ship in Chinese teas.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you'd probably. Yeah. No, that's a whole. That's.
So
I
actually don't know how you deal with that.
It's not. It's great until it isn't, and then when it isn't, when packages get lost, we just have to eat it and refund it or whatever. And it's it's because there's really no, like, I actually spent a long time on the phone today with USPS about like a China Post package and things like that. And there's all these weird international agreements where it's just like if China Post sends something, the USPS can't actually like search for it until China Post like requests it. So you have to try to get somebody on the China Post side to actually like file a claim with USPS. And they do it by mail. They like write on a letter, hey, look for this package. They put it in the mail, and then that gets to America like 2 months later because they put it on a boat or something. And then so I don't know. It's just a big hassle. So you go with it.
Wow, that sounds like that sounds really painful, and I actually deal with that before. It's actually my own box from Taiwan, and then the same thing. It got lost, and then
I spent 2 hours on the phone today talking to USPS about a box that we sent from ourselves, and they're like, "You guys need to contact the vendor in China." I'm like, "Well, hey, that's me." Like I shipped it to myself. They're like, "You're in China." I'm like, "Well, I'm not in China, but I can ship stuff from." It's like I can ship stuff from China. Like they're like, "Were you there?" I'm like, "I wasn't there, but like, our factory that we work with, put it in." It's just so confusing. There's a question from Michael Snow. What is involved in deciding to stock an older factory tea like Changtai Chocha? Availability, cost, and if it tastes good. There's a lot of really decent old material, but even in China, like old material doesn't sell for cheap. When we can find a decent performing tea like this one, which is it's got enough of a humid storage on it. It's got a really nice like flavor and aroma, and it doesn't cost too much. I'm more than happy to pick something like that up. But otherwise we don't really focus on things that we can't press for our own labels and stuff like that. But if it's a good deal, we'll go for it. Yeah.
Oh, so you basically just deal with the teas that you can press.
Primarily, for a couple reasons.
That's really cool.
Well, the first reason is if it's young sheng, I can actually be a part of the quality control process. I wasn't in the business in 2007. I don't know where these leaves came from. I don't know how they were picked, how they were processed. I don't know how it was stored. I don't know anything about it. You kind of have to guess based on the experience you have in the cup. But for all of our new product, like I know exactly like who farmed it. I know like what their farming practices are. Like I know everything from like actual like picking right up to the product, and I control the storage. I know what our storage conditions are like, and so it just gives me a lot more quality control. And then brand management is a large part of it. I want to sell Crimson Lotus tea. So that becomes a part of it.
I understand. So. Yeah. Can you give me a ball? On the table, is that a base?
Let's see.
Yes.
It's your tea assistant there. It's very nice. Lama, bring me a ball.
Not like that.
You should have seen the look that I got. I shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna hear about that later.
Yeah, if tomorrow you got a black eye or something, I will not say anything.
Let's see. Some other questions in chat while you're doing that. Let's see. Somebody's talking about tea cakes that are blended with sheng. Is that a thing? Do they blend blend sheng pu'er with oolong and press it. Is that your question, Brandon? I'm not sure what you're asking. Interesting.
Wow, my intuition will be, I hope not.
Well, sometimes, I mean, they do. I mean, do people ever take oolong and press it into cakes?
Yeah, they do press it. I think there are like some Sheng from Wuyi that got pressed into like those tiny little bricks. That they even came to Seattle. Some people brought it in for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I think there are some Wuyi region people that are pressing their teas.
I think it's kind of fun. Brandon, if I got your question wrong, hop back onto chat and re-ask it or something. BKeller8345 asks, can overweight packages be reasons they got sent back to the vendor prior export? Possibly. Like if the vendor, like if it was like a 3 kilo package and the vendor said it was a 2 kilo package, yeah, sure. At some point in time, China Post is going to be, or whatever the vendor, whatever the shipping agent is, at some point in time they're gonna send it back. We get packages sent back to us all the time, like every day, for no reason at all. Like it'll just, yeah. Sometimes like Kunming's pretty far away from where the packages eventually leave China, right? So that's always like Guangzhou or Shanghai, Beijing, like east side. And so like we'll take our packages, we package them up, we bring them every day to like the shipping center. The shipping center like takes them and does what they do with it, gets it into the system, puts it on a plane, sends it back there. And sometimes we'll watch the tracking. They just go back and forth. The package just goes to Guangzhou. Then it comes back to Kunming, then it goes to Guangzhou, then it comes back to Kunming, then it goes to Guangzhou, then it comes back to Kunming, and eventually, like, the guy brings it back to us, and we're like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. And, like, nobody ever knows, so we just put a new label on there and, ship it again and, send a message to the customer and apologize that the tea's being delayed. And usually it eventually gets through, but some packages just, I don't know.
Never gets through.
Just don't know. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
H. Holiday says that they are the other faux show person, so that must be. So there's two. It's Jake and H. Holiday. Are those the two faux show people? Yeah. Brandon wants to hear more about your thoughts on the on the pu'er.
My thoughts?
Yeah, your tasting notes. I guess he wants to know.
Okay, cool. I'm actually is that Brandon?
Brandon Hale, yeah.
Okay, Brandon. I am not very big on tasting notes, just to let you know. Sometimes, just to be honest, a little bit, I get a little bit upset with those things. When people talk too much of that and make that into a focus. I personally think tasting notes are part of a tea, but only the beginning of a tea. Yeah, and so sorry, I'm kind of like lecturing something right now. I am a mom, so please forgive me. So
go back to your room, Brandon. And turn off your computer. No more games.
And maybe Brandon is like more is like older and stuff, and than me, and just like what the heck, Shiuwen, why are you lecturing me? But anyway, let me continue, okay? Since you want to hear, so I'm actually in infusion number 2. So when I start to evaluate tea, it's actually the smell, but this one cools down. So I will get back to the smell later. Okay. Right now the liquid hit my tongue and it actually goes to the side. I watch how a liquid move. By the way, it's very important to me. If you just stay in one place, it's not bad, but it's not
dynamic.
It's not alive. It's not interesting. And I watch where it's going, and I watch if it grow and move more. So for example, I watch also if this liquid puff or not. Okay, and it does puff just a little bit, just to be honest with you, but it sprays quite a lot. I mean that the presence of the side and the tongue is really, let me see, obvious on this tea. Okay, so I will do the third infusion.
What's interesting? Go ahead.
Tea evaluation is similar. You don't need to be we're an expert on, let's say, green tea or oolong tea or pu'er tea to be able to look for qualities. And sure, I think we should dedicate like Crimson Lotus tea spend all their time and career on going to Yunnan and and learn Yunnan teas, pu'er teas from the source, that's very invaluable. And they focus so much on those. They will have a lot of tips to offer people, but it doesn't mean that Glenn cannot drink oolong tea, by the way.
I can't drink it.
You can drink oolong tea.
Yeah.
So maybe let me go back to the beginning then, since I'm going to use the hot liquid to do the scent. And as you guys earlier on recall, I actually call out 3 different smells. And also, that's also just like taste. It's just the beginning. So when I smell the tea, I don't stop on, oh, it smells like chocolate herbs and sweet or whatever, whatnot, okay? Continue with that. Where does the scent goes and stop? And I think when people actually watch my live Instagram, they are probably too familiar with this and say, oh, Shiuwen, please do not repeat it one more time. See if the scent actually stop at the nostril area, or do they pass? When a tea scent can pass, it means the length is a little bit longer. So if your length can be longer here, you can expect it to be able to go further also into the body, I think, you know. And so like this scent, I think it can pass. And does it linger too far away to the top of my head? Not yet, just to be honest, okay? Mm-hmm. And the texture of the scent also is like really, actually quite delicate. So that's a good thing to me. It doesn't have to be strong to be good. It can be balanced. Like the scent on this tea is balanced. And so there's also a plus that I'm looking for too, you know. And once again, liquid spray, does it pass can you feel that at the throat? Yes, I can. So this tea connect mouth and throat, and it moved to my chest. It just keep moving. And why is this like, I'm kind of obsessed with this subject actually when it comes to tea. Yeah. Because I will invite the people who participate with us today. Grab a tea or a lesser tea. You think that maybe tea bag is always a tea to good. It's always a good tea to start. Brew it the same strength as whatever you are drinking, and then feel them to see if, first of all, do they move? I probably would not think so. And do they actually connect the liquid to the throat? And every single sip of tea, if you swallow it, it actually moves physically into your stomach. But a lot of times you can't actually feel your tea here at all. Like there's no presence of the liquid here. There's no presence of liquid here. And not to mention, there's no presence of the liquid reaching to your stomach at all. And this tea, since it's older, it's actually from 2007. Yes. It actually already formed a line into the structure. And for $20, hey, dang, seriously. Wow, dang.
We've got Jake Knapp in the chat right now. Have you had? Do you know who Jake is? Are you familiar with Jake? Jake is a local tea guy. I'm teasing. I actually drank tea with Jake yesterday, right after the test stream with you. I hit Jake up, and I drank the oolong. I did my test steep of that with Jake, just so that I could get a little practice in. No, a Zoom stream. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to get a little practice in before I jumped in front of the public drinking oolong. So Jake helped me out with that. But no, that's really amazing to hear how you drink tea and how you appreciate tea. This is something that I've noticed with tea drinkers in China versus tea drinkers in the West. In the West, they're really, really focused on what does it taste like and what does it smell like, and how can I describe it? It tastes like this, it tastes like this, it tastes like that. It smells like this, smells like this, smells like that. But how it makes you feel in your body and in your mouth and in your nose is kind of secondary, because maybe we don't really know how to describe that in the West. But when we go to China, it's all about like the feeling of the tea and the emotion of the tea and what it's doing, and it's almost, the flavor and the aroma is almost secondary. So that's the way you described that was really amazing. So
Oh, thank you. And the thing that I just described, I'm actually at this moment is not what people are imagining. Oh, Shiuwen is talking about Chachi then. No, not yet.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the actual structure of a liquid. Will they expand or not expand, or will they move or not moving? Taste wise, okay, this is gonna be on internet. Okay, so I'm gonna sound a little bit rude.
Okay.
But I guess what the heck,
Do it.
So when a person go to sit down in a restaurant to eat, and they maybe have a plate of, let's say, steak, asparagus, and the typical stuff, steak, asparagus, and mashed potato. And if you don't eat meat, then you'll be vegetarian. Okay. And I am not sure how many of you guys will actually ask the server, what does the steak taste like? What does the asparagus taste like? And what does the mashed potato taste like? The moment the food reach to the mouth, it start to taste like something. And because we eat maybe asparagus for a long time, we start to associate asparagus as asparagus. Okay? That you don't need to ask that. Then now my question to people is, when we just focus, asparagus tastes like asparagus, just like tea, it tastes like chocolate, it tastes a bit sweet, asparagus tastes like asparagus. I always ask people, does those asparagus taste good? What determines those asparagus taste good or bad?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good question.
So maybe people can think about that, and then maybe start to think about, I think, what tea tastes like doesn't say a lot if the tea is actually a good tea. Like if this tea tastes like apple, it can be amazing and it can be pretty shitty, I tell you.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There's so many other things that kind of go into it. It's funny you mention apple. If you're actually just talking about like tasting good, flavor scientists have unlocked what makes things taste good, right? I mean, bubble tea with like really amazing flavors and sugar, like it tastes good. Like it does. It's scientifically designed to taste good. Soda, most cola and soda beverages and things like that, like they're designed to taste good. There's scientists that sit there and know exactly what happens in your tongue, and they're doing all these things to make it so you want to keep drinking those things. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but it was really great to hear your perspective on that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let me see. Oh man, I'm way behind in the chat, but it's all good. If there's an important question, somebody can just like post it up there. One of the nice things about having this stuff on YouTube is that YouTube actually stores the chat, so people will actually be able to see the chat as it's going when they watch the video later on, which is actually really handy.
Oh, really? It will all be there?
Yeah, all the chat will actually be there. So you'll be able to, if you want to go back and watch this afterwards, you'll be able to see all the questions I completely forgot about.
Just to be honest, I will probably not go back to watch it.
That's fine. I know. Let me grab a couple Oolong questions here. Somebody wanted to. This is a Jugpan. Jugpan wants to know how to store vacuum sealed Oolong after you've opened it, and how long until it gets stale.
Well, it depends on your oolong teas.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, light oolongs, and especially if it's still malcha, which is different from pu'erh malcha, is that actually just freshly done from the mountain, and then they didn't take out enough moisture. That tea is gonna go stale no matter what, and pretty soon, no matter what you do to it. Okay, but if you have a let's say, another gentleman or another gentlewoman asks about Tie Guan Yin, the old school Tie Guan Yin. If you got hold of one of those, even though it's freshly made, I guarantee you can store that tea easily for 5 years, and there's a huge possibility that you'll get better and better. So it depends on the nature of the oolong. Like, is it light, or is it darker or roasted? Okay, because roasted teas, they take out, because of the roasting process, and they take out even more moistures. Those teas will stay much longer time. Yeah, and so if it's just to also go direct to your question, if you have a light oolong, I really suggest soon you open the bag, try to drink it every day. Drink it up, and then, because those are fairly seasonal, and you do want to taste with the season. And then every 6 months there's a new season, so might as well just drink the fresh new teas and then experience the season. And then darker teas, after you open it up. So a lot of people want to age tea. If you just have a small bag and you vacuum it, you somehow find a vacuum machine and vacuum it back, it will store, and it will not do a lot of change. There is not enough volume. Just, I'm not sure if Glenn will agree with me, just like pu'er too. If you just want, so a lot of people want to age pu'er, right? They want to like start a younger pu'er thing and then age it for the next 25 years or so, which is great. But if you just have a little bit, you buy like 50 grams of that pu'er, and then you want to age it. I sincerely believe there is not enough volume. Chinese people talk about Chachi. They do talk about Chachi. How do you let Chachi grow? They got to have enough volume for them to grow. So if you want to age oolong, my teacher's suggestion, and this is gonna sound like a lot, is actually 5 gin, so will be minimally 3,000 grams.
Yeah, 3 kilos. That's a lot. Yeah, it's the same thing
3
with
kilos. Okay, cool.
Yes, it's the same thing with pu'er tea. Like, pu'er tea wants a lot. You know, if you're sitting there like trying to like age one cake. I mean, if you've got one tong and it's bamboo wrapped, you know, that could probably do some interesting stuff. And there's a lot of people that age like single tongs. But you know, yeah, the best tea storage places in, you know, that I've been to, I mean, those guys are storing thousands and thousands and thousands of metric tons of tea, and it creates a sort of a collective. Like it's in a humid environment, it's pretty easy for one cake to mold, but it's hard for like 1,000 cakes to mold, right? They kind of create this a stability between themselves or something like that.
Yeah. So, but I know that there's so many different kinds of teas out there, and people are very eager to try a lot of different things that in pu'er and in oolong. My suggestion is, if you have 100 bags of small volumes of tea at home, and small volume, I don't think they will go very far with all the 100 bags. So if you buy pu'er tea from Glenn, and you know Crimson Lotus tea's products really well, because you have been buying tea from him for 5 years, you are gonna know that one of the cakes or two of the cakes are gonna speak out to you. Invest money on those cakes if you want to age cakes. Don't age. I'm a salesman right now. Don't age one cake. It's like age like how many tong is in a Yijian? 28? I don't know.
Oh, well, a lot. It depends on if it's like what the size of the cakes are and stuff like that. But yeah, it's traditional. Traditional was 12 tongs of 357 grams. So I don't know. I'm really bad.
Oh, yeah, you go. So maybe do a 10 tong.
Yes. Clearly, we're both tea vendors, and so our answer is buy more tea.
also seriously, in a nice way, you do want to know your vendors and collect teas accordingly.
Yeah.
You know, if you have the mind to to let them store well and see how they change and etc. If you say, hey, you know what? I'm a drinker. I just like to taste a lot of new stuff. Then by all means, buy small quantities and taste the difference on this tea and that tea, and no need to buy too much, because you seriously, you don't want to have like 50 different teas that all partially already open up at home. They don't go further, and they sometimes will just go backwards a lot of times, and it's kind of wasting space and time.
But it's fun. It's people like it, especially in the West. You know, like the high end tea thing is still so new for so many people. They're so excited about like trying the different things and getting this and getting that, and a lot of them are at price points that are kind of hard to really, you know, like nail down on, and, you know, like buy a bunch of and stuff. And so that's, I mean, we basically encourage the same thing with our customers. You know, like buy a bunch of different things. If you can't afford a cake, you know, like buy some samples. But if you can afford a cake, there's a difference. There's a different experience that happens when you're with a cake the entire time, when you actually get the cake and you start, you know, like brewing it, and you work your way all the way through it, whether that takes, you know, like 1 month or 2 months or something like that. There's you start a relationship like with that you don't get from like a single session and a single sample. And so we always at least encourage people, like if they can afford it, to get a cake, and if they find something that's in the right price point and they want to grab something for aging, and then, you know, grab a tone with it or something. So Ivory Flute 86 had a question about your thoughts on the taste similarities between aged oolong and aged pu'er.
Oh, similarity, I will say one thing maybe in similar on the texture is they can get pretty smooth, and the richness, and also rich. There's a type of richness in the mouth that is not necessarily much heavier than let's say the dark roast oolongs or the show pu'er. A lot of people think then the aged pu'er is gonna be so thick. And actually, a lot of aged pu'ers that I have is actually quite smooth, and the I don't bump the camera. Can you put your thumb on this? What? Do I just pay $5,000? Yeah. Sorry.
He just needed your face to unlock the iPhone. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Right. And so there's a richness that is more, the molecules tie in more together, but not necessarily on the body weight is heavier. That's one thing I noticed. And then, to be honest with you, both of the both sides of the HTs actually is really don't press it. Just put your thumb on. It's really focused on the physical. Yeah. Like I will say the Chachi then, and then so Chachi for me is this, okay? So when the actual liquid move into the stomach and you continue to experience the tea, and some of the tea can open from the back. It sounds like the next piece is going to, like, Sean is totally crazy and high with something else. It will come through the neck and open on the shoulder. And sometimes Chachi shows in actually physical warmth, right? You can argue that then well, you are drinking hot tea. Well, I drink my tea like with boiling water pretty much all the time.
I drink hot chocolate and I don't get Chachi from that.
Yeah, you can get high, different kind of stimulation, right? Yeah. But the aged pu'er and aged oolong can give you the feeling that it's actually running in your body, and you just observe how it runs. The pathway is running. Some are very strong on certain areas. Some can run through the whole body. It doesn't mean they are all the same. I will have to put it here. Pu'er tea might go further than oolong tea sometimes. Because pu'er tea.
Is that because of the large leaf varietal? Do you think, or what do you think? Because
my teacher explained this to me, because when I first got into this business, I went to Taiwan and I asked those like really experienced tea drinkers, and then they're well respected. I said, "Hey, Mr. Joe, what's your favorite tea?" He said, "pu'er." I said, "What?" Oh, okay. Do you have a favorite oolong tea though, since we're in Taiwan? A good aged dongbing. Oh, okay, thank you. Go to a different teacher. Or teacher, one question. What's your favorite tea? And some will just directly tell me, that's a very stupid question. Don't ask that kind of questions. Okay, sorry. But anyway, that guy also answered. He said, pu'er tea. And I got frustrated. I was like, hey, dude, we're in the land of Taiwan. We're in Taiwan. I'm so proud of this place. I'm so proud of Taiwanese oolongs. Why do you guys all like pu'er this much? And then the teacher is explained very well. He's pretty far out there, and he teach me so much. He said, pu'er tea, a good one, is from nature. Those trees are not just this pu'er cake is really old. He doesn't even talk about all pu'ers. He talk about some pu'er sometimes, just the young ones. He said pu'er tea is so far out there because we are talking about nature's work. So much stuff come out of the tea leaves because the root is that if this tree is 1,000 or 500 years old, whoa, you know, you don't even need to inject too much energy back into the tea. They naturally come out because there's earth, there's nature. And I said, but oolong tea, isn't oolong tea amazing? Oolong tea is humans' experiences and skills from I would say maybe like 500 years ago, and then they just keep putting into oolong tea, and today to one of the most amazing teas. It's beautiful. He said, yes, it is. But you know what? Humans are behind this tea. I said, yeah, isn't there so much beauty? He said, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Human can never compete with nature.
That's amazing. That's
and I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
And now I come to love both of these teas so much.
Yeah.
Pu'er tea is really undefeatable. It's nature, and oolong tea is so beautiful because it's human.
That's interesting. That's really amazing. That's a really amazing way to describe it. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
That's so. It's funny. Like,
did I answer the question?
I don't even remember what the question was anymore. It's fine. But it was, when you were talking about your experiences of, like going to Taiwan, you chose to enter the tea industry. That's a very bold move. I don't think we really knew what we were getting into. I honestly, like in hindsight, if I knew everything that I knew now and I knew how much work it was going to be, I probably would have just continued working in software, because I made a lot of money in software, but I wanted something different, and I was really passionate about. I was originally passionate about coffee and about plant things that give you amazing like taste and flavor experiences and stuff like that. And so tea had never really ever fascinated me, and it wasn't until I had pu'er tea for the first time where it was just like it just opened a door, and I was just like, I'd never knew tea could do this. And so then but when you were talking about going to Taiwan and like specifically like learning and going to teachers and masters and things like that, and then I thought it was just me being a foreigner being told I have stupid questions. So it's you too. They were
oh my god, I got told that. Don't ask that kind of question. Oh, that's kind of dumb. Or like, why do you want to know this? All sorts of things got told back at me, and it's good. It's good. And you go to Yunnan, you know that some of the Asians, or a lot of Asians, are very, let me put it that way, direct.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, especially in the tea business. Yeah, they don't want to mess around.
They are very direct with a lot of things. Not even with. Let me give you an example. That's nothing to do with tea. I went to see a tea vendor maybe 3 years ago, and my friend walking there with me, and he's Asian American and tall and really fit. He's fit and nice looking guy. He went there with me many years now. For many years now. The last time he went there, somebody walked from the back. We call him the little one brother. He come to the back. He come out and he saw me. He said, "Oh, Miss Tai, you are back." I say, "Yes, so nice to see you." And he saw my friend. He said, "Oh, you gained some weight." He just said that. But it's like he's not like implying that, oh, you are fat, or
yeah.
He just said that. And then I think here people will not ever say that.
Yeah, well, maybe if they're only friends and they're just kind of joking or something like that. But yeah, no, that's.
And so when it comes to learning tea, the questions I ask, like actually I was drinking a pu'er with a teacher, and then it was amazing. And I say, "Hey teacher, where is this tea from?" And he just like look at me like, Yunnan. I said, yes. Yes, I think I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, you really want to know like where it is from? I said, yes, please. Okay. And he said like a name of a town. And I said, okay. It doesn't mean anything, right? Does it mean anything to you? I said, not really. And so he's trying to tell me that those things sometimes are important and sometimes are not. It doesn't determine if this pu'er tea is good or bad.
Yeah. We so this is something. I mean, being a person of the West, my brain works very categorically, right? I mean, every single thing from when I was, like a child on down, like learning science and stuff. I mean, everything is like structured in rules and very, very, very specific. And there's a box for every animal. There's a box for every plant. It's very, 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 very structured. And so my brain still continues to think in that structured way. And so that's how I began to approach tea. It's just like, approach pu'er. It's just like, okay, well, this is a Oolong tea. Oolong tea tastes like that. That goes in that box. Oh, this is an Iwu tea. Iwu tea tastes like that. And it wasn't until we went, I went to Yunnan and I realized that all of it means things, but it doesn't mean things. You can go to Oolong and you can find teas that taste like Oolong, but you can go to Oolong and you can find teas that don't taste like Oolong. And we had some interesting things our first year, bringing a bunch of teas back. We were very specific about, like origin and mountain and village and all of this stuff. And then some people would have the teas and then they would like complain about them to other tea drinkers online. Like Crimson Lotus Tea doesn't know what they're doing because like I got this tea from Oolong. He says it's from Oolong. It doesn't taste like Oolong. And I'm like, I literally was there. Like I was there. Like I saw it come off the tree into the wok. Like, and I took it like, the next day. Like it's, I'm not lying to you. It was there. And they're like, yeah, well, it made us really kind of start focusing less on the origin details and focusing a little bit more on the tea experience and whether you like it. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, does it matter where it came from? It's kind of like what you said. It's just like if somebody throws out like a whole bunch of names, it's like, well, what does that mean? But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I think. As a tea drinker, it's not like I'm preaching like, well, don't know anything about tea then. That's not what I mean either. But I think that we shouldn't get stuck with pursuing facts only.
Yeah.
How much can one taste is actually more important than how much you know. And if you don't trust me, listeners, go to Asia and drink tea with them and roll out your facts. Roll out your facts at those people.
Yeah.
And then you take a sip of tea and then you blur something out of what you taste. They're gonna know you at that moment. How much do you actually connect here with here?
Yeah.
And the moment they think you are not connected, if you can see what they are doing, it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's actually brutal.
Yeah, no, I've been there. I've been there many tea tastings, and it's they always want to play like the trick the foreigner game. They're like, oh, let's see what the Lao wine knows about this tea, and then they'll it's like it happens like every single time. They're always trying to like do something, and so my defense mechanism, because it actually really stresses me out as soon as they do that. My defense mechanism is to, in my head, make the decision on what the tea is, and then pick like the tea that is the absolute polar opposite of that, and then just double down, right? And just to mess with them, because I know they're messing with me, so I'm gonna mess with them back. So if I know that it's like it's definitely like probably like a 20-year-old like Jingmai, like Old Tree or something, and I'll be like, oh yeah, no, this is Oolong. This is definitely Oolong, and you press this into a cake, and this is only from 2 years ago, but you over-humid stored it, and I'll just like go on and just like create a huge story about it, and then I'll swear it's definitely that, because I've had this before, and then I just try to play the game back with them and just have some fun, because it's I don't know, that's the only thing I can do, because I don't know, it's just whatever. Let's drink some Oolong. It's time. Yeah. It's Oolong. It's Oolong time. It's Oolong o'clock.
All right. There you go.
So, I was planning on just brewing this the exact same way that I would brew pu'er tea. Should I do that, or should I do something different?
No, perfect.
Okay. So I've got So I have this this fancy little pot. We're gonna switch to this one here. Hold on, I'll get it up.
Okay.
This is a cute little Mark Moeller monster pot. It's one of his little ones like that.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
I pointed at my
his little monster pot. Mark Moeller monster pot. So this is about 150 ml. So I'm gonna go with 10 grams. 1 to 15 is kind of what I do for pu'er. So. Cool. I find that like as long as I have like this specific structure in place, then I can taste all teas equally. So for like tell us about your pot and what ratio and what you're gonna do for brewing yours.
I guess this is a red clay Asian teapot. I think I don't really know where it's from exactly, but I acquired this pot when 1 year when I was in Taiwan, and it kind of is a pot that is it's a lot of oolong teas function pretty well in there. So today I'm gonna use the pot to brew my Dongting teas. And ratio wise, I almost never measure my tea.
Okay.
So what I do is it depends on the day and the time, and it's later. Right now it's like 5:30, right?
Yeah.
And even though I'm in tea business, I can't handle all day long tea caffeine, and I can't sleep. So due to the reason that today I might actually put just roughly a very thin layer of dry leaves on the bottom.
I'll forgive you.
Of the teapot, and I'll call it a good. And so the same thing, I'm gonna warm up the teapot just with hot water.
So Hey Cha Holiday says that I can't go wrong pushing your oolongs. He's like, I can go wrong by underdoing it. So I like to overleaf and I like to oversteep. So he said I can't go wrong with that. But I'm going to show everybody the leaves here. This is, look at this fisheye lens. How great is that? You can just pop it right up there and everybody can see that really nice. It looks that
your lens is great.
It was $15 on Amazon.
15?
15. I was very excited. It just screwed right onto my existing camera, and I'm like, done. That looks great.
Wow.
I'm going to guess that you probably didn't watch a lot of skateboard videos in the 90s, but I watched a lot of skateboard videos in the 90s, and everybody had a lens like that, so they could get in really close and watch the people skateboard and do tricks and things. So I feel like I'm in a skateboard video every time. Like I just love being able to come in like that.
It's great. It's great.
There's probably a lot of people in the chat. If there are customers, they're not super familiar with oolongs and stuff. Tell us how this was processed. Like, how does it go from picking into the rolled shape? What does it do?
Sure. So oolong tea deal with we call it outdoor withering after the tea leaves is picked. And there's no exact formula because they have to watch the sun, where the sun condition.
Picked in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Traditionally, actually, pick after the dew on the leaves is pretty much dry out naturally. Nowadays, almost nobody is doing that method because pickers want to get out there when it's bright to pick. And what happened is there will be like about 6 or 6:30 in the morning or 7.
Okay.
And there's still a lot of humidity on the top of the leaves, but you kind of can't stop them from picking tea. If not, you got to pay them more. And so due to the economy reason, they start to pick actually quite early nowadays. There is a problem on that, but people can use processing skill to
the problem is the leaf is still too wet from the dew.
I mean, you sometimes cannot like physically, it's like kind of shake off the. Wow. You can. It's not that much. It's not that much. It's not like it's raining or anything. But it is different when sun actually have a way to dry it off naturally.
Sure.
But then you have to wait until like probably I will estimate about 10:30 to 11.
Okay.
Then the process will be pushed back for a little bit longer as well, and not enough materials sometimes. But anyway, after they pick, they gather it on the campers outside. Canvas, not campus, sorry, canvas, that thick plastic thing on the ground, and then they just lay the leaves, fresh picked leaves, in the right layer, and then just let it wither outside. We call it outdoor withering, to let some of the content to come out from the side, the pores, and the stem of the tea leaves, and then that the ultralight and stuff from the sun can get into the leaf to start to cause like reactions. And then when that thing is enough, there's actually leaves that will change at that time, and also smell will start to change. Tea makers do that by experience. That's why I said there's like no formula. After that, it takes roughly about 30 minutes.
So the withering takes place in the sunlight?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning, outdoor, and then there's a long indoor withering that is actually played between tea leaves resting, and then they have to shake. They call it shaking green. They have to shake the leaves gently in the right motion to help the leaves not die completely, because it's long time. It's like 16 hours inside.
Oh wow!
So if you don't help them in the right way, tea leaves sometimes can fall too far into sleeping, and they will never come back up again. So that means tea will not have much flavor. But if you shake too much, then you can break the cells also too much. Then the oxidation stuff will not happen too smoothly either. And they really take a long time. And then after that, when the thing is ready, they will do they call it big shaking green, 大浪, to try to actually, tea, if you notice, since it's a plant, it can get stinky. So when you make oolong tea, there's a lot of smell comes out, and the water content will come out. So after you shake the big shaking green, if you let it rest for the next 2 hours, there's that beautiful oolong bouquet will start to show up. And also because you shake it that big, they cannot do a lot of oxidation anymore, because that's the moment you really want it. And after that, a couple of hours, they put it into a tumbler. In the autumn, they probably fry it on the wok. But nowadays, I rarely see anybody frying their tea on the wok in Taiwan. It's like a lot of manual work and machinery got involved. And then they put it into a huge tumbler. I mean the pot. And then use that high heat. And high heat, I mean that sometimes at 280 Celsius. They call it killing green. To really fix the flavor in the tea, also the right amount of oxidation in the tea, and then that takes maybe roughly about 10 to 20 minutes. Once again, they base it they base it on the experience and just on the materials, because they have to smell the tea and touch the tea to see if it's ready.
This tea smells really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then there will be, after the killing green, there will be a whole team of people come in and pick up the teas and then start to shape it. Like this you show it in your camera so well. It's kind of like a funky roll style tea. They have to use also people and machine and then roll the teas and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this tea smells great. Reminds me of a Dongding Oolong.
Well said. That's well said.
No, it's actually a really comforting aroma. I want to keep smelling it, and it's fascinating to me because it doesn't really smell anything like anything from pu'er tea, which I'm normally familiar with and normally drinking. So it's just like it's kind of hard for me to like nail down and kind of like find a way to place it, because it's just it smells so different from what normally we're drinking, which normally what I'm drinking is young sheng, because that's what we're dealing with, like day in day out with the farmers and stuff like that, is newly processed sheng. So it's kind of exciting to try some new stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Dongding tea is one of the most known oolong tea in Taiwan.
Yeah.
It's actually really famous, and I'm kind of obsessed with the mountain.
Well, Jake was saying the same thing when we were talking. He was describing the because Jake, if people don't know, Jake has spent time with you in Taiwan, and he's helped you do like video stuff, and he goes over there with you and stuff like that. And so Jake also knows a lot of stuff. Jake does some art for us. Maybe you've seen some of his cakes that he's done. He's done some artwork, and so he and I were chatting about some new art designs. I filled his brain with some thoughts and ideas, and I'm going to let his creative juices kind of run with that. So we may see some new Jake art on our tea this year, which I'm excited about. But no, this is great. I'm excited to get this tried. I gave it a wash. Do you generally wash, or do you drink the wash for oolong?
Actually, I used to wash tea.
Yeah.
And nowadays I don't wash tea anymore.
Okay.
It's a thing that I actually changed.
even like pu'er, like a really like old growth, super funky, musty show pu'er. Would you give that a wash, or would you just toss it and drink it?
I might actually not drink that tea.
You're like, I just wouldn't drink it. That's funny. Yeah, no, washing is just so habitual for me now. So I mean, in Taiwan, do they traditionally wash oolongs? Do you give it a quick rinse?
Yes, a lot of people wash their tea, and that's where I actually built my habits as well, and unconsciously wash tea and doesn't really know why exactly I wash tea. And then later I kind of had my own interpretation why I was washing tea, actually, because I wash it also for people to smell the bouquet and help the tea to open up.
True. Yeah.
And then I started to meet some quite amazing tea people in Taiwan, and they are all like drinking like more like old growth and organic teas. And then they said, well, if you wash it and just toss it away, isn't that quite wasteful? I said, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I say sometimes tea feel kind of just like pu'er tea, right? It feel kind of bumped up. Pu'er tea, if it's not matcha, it's from pig. It's like semi-pressed,
It's tight, yeah.
And then some of them even got pressed really tight.
Yeah.
And then oolong tea, this one's both styles. So sometimes like first infusion, you feel like it's kind of got bound up in the first infusion. And then so they said that you got to find a way to open, quote unquote, the first infusion. and I watch how they open tea. There's that crazy teacher who just like, why do you want to know that place? Do you know how he opened his pu'er that time? He pressed it like those teas are so tight and in like chocolate, like kind of like your chocolate.
Oh, chocolate bar shape, yeah.
Yeah. And then so he take out 2 chunks actually, and he called it danju, which I thought is like it is a pearls or something. Later I realized, oh no, it's a single bush in Yunnan. Like dancong.
Gotcha.
I think that's what it means. And then he used like brazier with charcoal fire. Jack probably know that one, or was he there? I don't know. And then he was just like so imagine this hot water pot. Yeah. This is like charcoal heat here, and then there's a teapot, and he put 2 of the pu'er chunks right on here.
Oh, okay, just kind of warm up.
And then he just kept talking to us.
Oh, nice.
He just kept talking and talking. And after he thinks it's ready, I don't even know how many minutes, because he doesn't allow us to look at cell phone, by the way. He picked up those chocolate piece, and he just like get it close to our nose. He says, smell that. And nice. It smells so good.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
So good. Yeah. And then that's one of his ways to open a pu'er tea. And I was so excited. That tea was so exciting. I actually bought, I think, 2 small pieces. And I came back one time and I was so excited. And I was like, I'm going to brew this tea. And I couldn't open that tea no matter what I did to it. The first section was a disaster.
Lauren, you might know Lauren Hall Steigert. She's tea voyeur on Instagram. She's in the chat now. She had to do a sake tasting before this, but she came in afterwards. So we're glad that you're here. We're happy. I hope the sake. She's really happy probably right now. She's in a good space. Right. She wanted to know if you're not doing a rinse steep, do you make the first steep longer to accommodate for that?
That's not necessary. What I mean by opening. So if you sometimes watch me before,
yeah,
I actually today I didn't do it because I don't know. You guys probably can see that the pot. I opened it right here.
Yeah, well, they can't see your kettle because the screen's kind of truncated, so they can't. They can't see that part there. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so you actually left it on there.
Your hot kettle,
okay,
and it's like still like boiling and stuff. I set it on here.
Oh, nice.
To open. So I set it on here for the dry teapot for a while. Like the teapot is like completely hot inside and out, and I put leaves in there to let the warmth continue to drive into the leaves. How long? I am still learning. Sometimes I think I overdid it and the tea become extremely off balance and it's really rough actually. So this is something that I'm playing with, and I invite you guys to play with this, like to really start to learn how tea can actually open up.
Yeah.
And no need to be afraid that like, well, I don't know. I don't know.
Iron kettles. That's what you guys need. We all need iron kettles.
This is not iron.
Okay.
But yes, you guys will know. If you guys drink wine, you guys drink beer, you guys drink any kind of alcoholic beverages, you guys actually open, not just open it and pour it in your glass. You guys actually wait for it to open.
Yeah.
So how do you know that your wine is open or not? Use the same, I guess, skills then. You will know how you can open a tea by trying out.
Nice.
You know?
That's no, I like that. I think I've seen some people do something similar where they'll put it in there and then they'll wash the teapot, right, with hot water to get it hot, and they'll put the tea in there and they'll close it, and then they'll just keep pouring hot water over the top of it every like minute or so just to kind of keep the teapot warm. I've seen that can work as well. But like that's nice. I like seeing it sit on the top of the pot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys have Oolong questions and maybe I missed it previously, go ahead and toss that into the chat. Otherwise, I'll just I'm just gonna start asking questions. We're gonna talk about whatever. So So like, you're a woman in the tea industry. That's got to be, it's got to be a challenge in Asia. How do you overcome that challenge? Because I've from my experiences, like every tea shop I go to is it's very male centric. You know, you got the guys that they're the boss, and they're kind of like gangsters, and there's like, it's very like macho and stuff like that. Do you have any issues when you're in Taiwan overcoming that?
Actually, I feel like I think Taiwan may be the part of different, like male and female is not as I mean they do recognize it's different, but and yet at the same time, yes, all the tea business, the people who are up in the front are actually men most of the time.
Yeah.
And including farming or in the store. And but behind their back, there's that amazing woman who keep every number in her head.
Yeah.
Without that woman, the guy couldn't move forward much either. Because they will be talking business and the woman keep memorize stuff, you know, like, oh, you want this? Ask my wife or something like this. And I think I will say the only thing that they will feel uncomfortable with me is because I am a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially so I started in 2005. Is that like 10? How many years ago? I don't know.
Like 30. I don't know. It seems like a long time ago. That's forever ago.
So when I was 10, I started the business. No. So at that time I was also younger.
Yeah.
And so they are like really like feel a little bit uncomfortable with like this young female sitting there like try to buy tea and stuff. But at that time I was with my ex-husband, and they do prefer to talk to him, not because I feel like they're just like she's a woman, not important. It's more because they are so used to talking to men.
That makes sense.
Yeah, directly. And yeah, I think that's the only thing I feel. But to like really go up to the mountains and to stay with the team and to like follow them and to process, they do feel like a little bit uncomfortable. So what happens is when you start to make oolong, it takes if the weather condition is like really appropriate, really like suitable, it takes days. And so they stay in like almost like just in a room, and you know, when they can take naps, they will just go do that. And so I noticed that they actually never offer to take me there to see those things, because they probably feel really uncomfortable. Like there's a woman here. What do we do with her? So I normally I can go to a farmer's place and I will just watch like partial process. And sometimes I do stay up there, but I have my own room and stuff. And then like sometimes I'll tell them that, hey, when you guys are like doing that killing green, which normally happen in like 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like, is that possible that you guys can bring me to do those things? And then they'll be like, oh, okay, are you sure? I said,
yeah, like you really want to see that?
Yeah. I said, please bring me to see those things. And then they were like, oh, okay. And then they'll wake up and then bring me to see those things. But another style is you kind of just sleep in the same room with them, and then they'll be like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah, I could see that being odd, being an odd experience for them culturally. Yeah, our experiences, like with the amount of time that we've spent in Yunnan, and the amount of like tea shops and tea vendors and, you know, like farmers and everything that we work with, in my experience, I almost hands down would prefer to work with a woman in the tea industry, because they don't have anything to prove. Like I get a lot of this, like there's a lot of like guys that get into the tea industry just because that's just kind of like the cool thing to do. But I guarantee you, nearly every single woman I work with in the tea industry, like they're amazing, because, you know, like number one, like they've had to work hard to get to that point, to gain respect in what's like, you know, over in Yunnan specifically, like a man's game. And so if they're actually in there and they've been in that game for long enough, like they probably really know their stuff. And I think there's a lot more riding on like the quality and the experience, and, you know, like being able to, they want return business. Whereas sometimes like the guys are just like, I don't know, like I have so many of these just dumb tea tasting things where it seems like it's just just a macho contest where they're trying to like outdo each other on like, oh, I got this tea from this place and I got this tea from this place, and they're just going on and on and on. It's just it gets a little frustrating. But yeah, the people that we end up dealing with year after year after year are the women that run their own tea shops over there, because they just know exactly what they're doing. So
interesting, huh?
Yeah,
I guess I'm lucky. I guess I'm lucky then.
Well, no, I mean, it's just you got to work just got to work extra hard over there, I guess. I don't know. That was just that's just something that we've noticed. But like almost all the tea shops are usually a husband and wife team. That seems to work good. Like that works out really well for Lamu and I. I mean, Lamu is definitely more numbers focused. She's more spreadsheet focused. I mean, she's more business focused. I mean, she has her master's in accounting. I mean, she went to, like studied university here, studied university in China. I mean, so she's got that background. And so we complement our skills. Like I get a little bit more focused on like the tea and like the like the quality and how it was produced, and like how we're gonna press it and what wrappers and designs and things like that. And I let her focus on the other stuff. So kind of we have at least for ourselves. And I think I see some of that. And you're talking about how like the guys are running like the tea tasting and stuff. But when you want to buy it, he's like, I go talk to the wife or something like that. So
yeah, she got everything down.
they've got a balance there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. No, this is starting to feel really nice. This is
it's getting long.
Very good tasting tea. Let's see. Cindy's got a question here. Okay. Cindy says, in my experience, more sheng drinkers are men and more oolong drinkers are women. Is that your experience as well?
No.
Nope.
No. When I got into this business in Seattle, like for like the kung fu teas and stuff, and it's also more men.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even
I would say I experienced probably, I'm not sure it's because I was new or whatever. I will say that there actually some customers at that time when I was new to the business, they actually kind of want to macho me out.
They wanted to, yeah, I can see that.
They want to show me how much they know and how much I don't know, which I always feel like, well, don't play this game with me.
Yeah, you can definitely handle it. You can definitely handle your own, for sure. I wouldn't play that game. I wouldn't play that game with you.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no need to talk further.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, nobody ever tries to out macho me. I never have to. It's one thing that I don't have to worry about. I apparently can present enough of a macho image that I'm whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I do specifically like I have to build a sense of credibility as a foreigner, as a Laowai there before they'll really respect me as a tea drinker.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out like some translation things, like the in Chinese, like if you ask somebody like, can you drink tea? What you're actually asking is like, do you know how to appreciate tea? But but the actual translation is, can you drink tea? And I'm like, of course I can drink tea. It's not that hard. Like, I mean, like, there you go. I can drink tea. And so not really understanding. And it seemed almost insulting, like, I didn't know that Americans can drink tea. And I'm like, it's not that hard. You put a cup to your mouth. Of course I can drink tea. But what they really were meaning was more about like, do you have the ability to appreciate tea? And I have to every new shop or vendor or farmer, and not really the farmers because they don't care. They just want to sell the tea. But if we're working in a tea shop or something like that, they really want to be able to know and understand that I can actually appreciate the tea before they'll respect me as a tea drinker. So that's usually like a process that I have to go through.
They will actually say that?
Oh yeah, they'll be amazed. They'll get out their phones and they'll start messaging their friends like, there's a foreigner here and he knows how to hold a gaiwan. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. They're like, I need to take your picture. And then the funny thing is, like, every single time somebody takes a picture of me in a tea shop, the next year it's up on the wall. And I'm like, Okay, all right. It's like big, like a big picture of like me sitting there drinking tea in their shop, and they get a little extra guanxi.
Taiwan is actually not like that.
So nobody, if I go to Taiwan, nobody's gonna like take a picture of me and put me up on their wall.
Probably. First of all, probably not.
Yeah. So there's no pictures of Jake on tea walls and over there.
Jake's picture is only his work maybe shown on the wall, but not him.
That's funny.
Show on the wall, and I don't think Jake actually ever experienced that in Taiwan. Like people will ask him like, do you know how to drink tea?
Yeah.
Taiwan is, I don't know, it's maybe more subtle. They will actually watch you take a sip, and then they might ask a question. Not like that. Like,
so they judge, but it's quietly judging. Yeah.
Not necessarily. I think they want to know how much you know.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then later to bring out things that are a bit more accordingly. But it's that I don't think any people that any Lao Wai, any white people that I bring to Taiwan, it's almost like discrimination, huh? But they don't Taiwan doesn't, at least the people that I have experience with never treat white people like that. When it comes to tea drinking, I think they want to know the tea drinkers.
That makes sense. I can get that. Yeah, it's just it's something funny that I started noticing after a while, and then it started to get like annoying, and I'd have to like prove myself to every person. But then now eventually I just don't care. I just kind of go with it. Or the funny thing is like, so I mean clearly the Chinese and Asians like respect like the long history of tea. I mean, thousands of years of history of tea. So clearly there's like a historical advantage like over the West in that respect. So now what I do to kind of like play around with them, because like again, like it's just this game. It's this game that I have to play when I'm over there. They're automatically going to assume that I don't know anything. They're automatically going to assume that I don't know how to use a gaiwan, and I'll be like, no, these gaiwans are so easy. Like I watched a video on the ride over. Like this tea thing is fun. I was like, just. And then they're like, what? I don't know. It's just how I mess with them a little bit or something like that. I don't know. And then humor can change a lot of things and can make things turn to a better direction. That's also something that's hard. Is like my sense of humor does not translate into Chinese at all. I'm always trying to like joke and make a joke. I don't know. Like I don't know. I use humor. I use humor defensively. I use humor and to build rapport. And because all of my humor has to be translated through Lamu, she has to understand my joke before she can translate it well. And so usually it just my jokes just never come across. It's just
lost in the
They just look at me and they're like, what is wrong with this foreigner? Why would he say something like that? It doesn't make so funny.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. So how many steeps can you expect?
What do you think about this tea?
Oh, this tea's really nice. It's very nice. It's very comforting. I really it just has a really nice.
I think I just lost you.
Let's hope. Oh wait, no, there we go. Is it back?
Cool. You come back. Okay.
Good. We're set.
Okay, good.
Postman. Hey, Lamo. Can you run out and grab the postman and tell him he forgot to pick up all the packages, or did he pick it? We had a whole bunch. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I think he's gone. Oh, well, never mind.
Wow, he works this late.
Our postman doesn't get here till late. We just had, did he grab the packages, Lamo, or not? Okay. Whew. I must have missed him coming up. Whew. Okay, good. Our customers will be happy. The tea is on the way. It's going.
Yay! I know. Shipping is.
Yeah, it's such a hassle. Yeah, that's something else that you and I spent a long time talking about. It's a funny thing, once you actually make the decision to start a tea shop, you don't spend as much time focusing on tea as you think you would. It's shipping, and it's cardboard, and it's well, now it's social media. I mean, you didn't,
Yeah.
I guess that's not as important when you're doing a retail shop maybe back in the day. So I mean, 2005. I mean, yeah, you've been going at this for a while. Retail's hard with COVID,
different.
especially. You're talking about like us, like talking about things that we're doing, and you're starting this new like shipping adventure thing and doing more online stuff. The flip side of that is, like in the back of my head, I always think about like maybe opening some sort of a retail type shop. That absolutely horrifies me. Like just the concept of that just would give me nightmares. I figured out, I've solved all the stuff with like the website and shipping and things like that, and the idea of doing retail is a nightmare. So how have things been going with the COVID and stuff?
So of course, like last year, 2020, we were forced pretty much by the pandemic to go online. And sure, there was some, since I still have a physical location, the neighborhood people can still come to, but they cannot come into the store for like more than a year now. And then we just do curbside stuff business. And that transitioned, it was very stressful because I literally didn't know if I would survive. Yeah, and somehow I went through the year, and it was okay. And so now we are trying to set up a shipping center from Taiwan, and a lot of people think I'm expanding, and I never thought of it that way. I just want to hopefully maintain the same amount of business, and hopefully I don't need to spend that much time on doing the shipping part of the work. I mean, I still do bookkeeping, like behind the door. I'm doing that a lot of things that people are not seeing, answering emails and that kind of stuff, and not to even mention like social media and all sorts of stuff. But my goal is really actually to like almost trade money and time. I want to hopefully have a little bit more time to produce content. I mean, you guys, normally before pandemic, you guys also like spend, let's say, 3 months in Yunnan. And those content is not like sometimes have to be like so educational or whatever, but those content is invaluable in my mind. It's because it bring drinkers out there to a unknown place, basically, that they might have been there once or twice, okay, sure, or not at all, and just to see the landscaping and how people move, even without understanding what they are saying. First of all, it's already like quite mind-blowing to me. That's very important, actually. And second, that if you put in interview people, you learn that you carry that information back to the tea drinkers here. That's actually the part of the work that I really want to do. I sincerely, I really see me in this business is that, hey, dude, do I know how to process tea? Not really. I watch it sometimes now, and I know the steps, but you want me to really do that? You know what? My first batch of tea probably really sucked a lot. Not probably, it will suck a lot, right? So I am not a tea producer. And in Oolong tea world, I still don't know really how to roast a tea super well. And so then what am I then? Am I just a tea vendor? Well, yes and no. I don't want to just be a tea vendor. I want to be the bridge. I was born and raised there. I speak the language, and I want to learn, and it's fascinating to me. And I want people to see in a way what I mean, you have been in Yunnan. Some of those people are seriously like amazing, and like the depth of their experience and knowledge is like, whoa. I can keep going back to those teachers, and I don't think I can finish learning in my lifetime. It's too deep, but I don't want to miss the chance either. I want to bring those in to I always say, and since I'm living in Seattle for actually quite a long time now, since 2001, there is that American thing in me too. Actually, I'm thinking way more logical than before. I am, but I have also the Asian thing in me, and there's for me, it's such a beauty that I like to see different cultures, like try to experience the difference. And I think I'm in a really good position to be the person.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. But like you started off with your point saying, if you're sitting there spending all of your time putting tea in boxes, you're not going to be able to be that, cultural ambassador. And that's a tough thing to find out, I mean,
I know.
when a business is your business successful enough to hire people to do your packing,
I know.
How are you going to get to that level of success until you actually hire people to take over that stuff? And so that's a really tough business decision to do.
I know.
Thankfully we were able to set up our facility in Kunming, like largely using the availability of like Lamu's like family and like friends and stuff that we have there that can kind of like work with that. But we then expanded with like the COVID and stuff and all the difficulty of shipping things from China. We greatly expanded our Seattle shipping, which basically that's me. Like I'm the one that's packing those orders, and if you've ordered from us and like you paid priority shipping and it didn't go out for 3 or 4 days, I'm sorry. Like I'm trying to catch up on that, and it's I end up spending, like a lot of time doing it, but like we don't make enough money for me to actually like pay for somebody to do that here. So I mean, I still, you still kind of have to ride it out until it gets, until you can do it.
I know it's sometimes I say we're in stuck in a place that we are not be able to go by, but we are also not be able to hire a full-timer to do this. And so this move that I'm doing is like, I am scared. I'm actually quite scared, and I am underneath a lot of stress to see how it's gonna turn out. And but the thing is, if I don't keep that goal, I don't take this risk. I am not sure if I will be happy in this business.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, so you've been doing this, 15 plus years now, and even now, like with the amount of extra packages that I've had to do on a given week over the last year, I don't like it. I don't really like having to take like multiple hours out of the day and take tea and put things. I mean, there's the side of it where I'm happy that customers are actually like getting the teas, and I kind of get excited about that. But like after you spend like a long time like doing that, you start to ask yourself the same question that I'm sure you've asked. Like, is this my contribution to Crimson Lotus Tea, just sticking things in boxes, or is there something like larger that I can contribute to the customers? That's something that I think well, I mean, hopefully the people watching this can see a little bit more of what it takes behind the scenes, and like running running a tea business. There's just a lot of stuff to a lot of questions to ask yourself.
True.
Yeah. So but you're that is you mentioned the idea of like risk, like taking risk. Well, it's what you have to do. I mean, I've always loved the old, or what's the concept of fortune favors the bold. I mean, you've heard that in English. I'm not sure if there's. Are you familiar with that? You've heard that before. I don't know if is there a Chinese equivalent of that? Fortune means like fortune favors the bold means just this idea that like if you like luck will come to you if you are being extra risky, right? Like fortune, if fortune and luck is this god, like it prefers the people who are the bold people. Those are the people that are going to get the luck. And really what it comes down to is like if you're a person who's not bold, you're a person who's not trying. So you're never going to accidentally become super successful, but the people that are out there like making the mistakes and working and being bold, those are the ones that are actually going to be successful, because like they're working at it. So that's really what it comes down to. But I just always like that concept of fortune favors the bold. But
and Chinese also have a concept. It's like I think last year really made me realize that, and I think this year how it made me go bolder with the decision is, you know what? I already experienced the feeling of I might actually seriously will fail last year. And so this year, and then I really walked through that emotion and thought, well, if at that moment that floating leaf tea literally is just say, done, I couldn't move forward. I think later it really helped me to realize that oh no, that's not the permanent reality though. That's not the permanent reality. Things can turn, things can change.
Yep.
And so Chinese have a concept is the luck and the bad luck actually come together and they will turn.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if today I make this bold decision, and not today, 2 months ago, that we're going to launch something in Taiwan, what if I fail? Well, then got to turn that around, then find a way to turn it around and just keep experiencing that stress and keep turning it around.
Yeah, no, that's that makes sense. And that's especially when you're, I mean, our family relies on our business, I mean, my kids get fed, from this business, like I have a home and I have shelter and stuff like that. And so, it definitely puts like puts the weight on me to make the business, successful, so if we take risks and things like that, you got to work it out, or like the consequences are that there's so it's
do something else. If I have to go wait a table, I'll go wait a table.
No, exactly. I mean, it's it's a funny thing. Like I've there's a lot of new business opportunities in mainland China, and it's interesting how it's actually interesting how capitalist the people are actually allowed to be inside of the communist country. It's very easy for people to start and open their own businesses, but it's interesting, like the businesses that they actually do decide to do, and why they do it, and how they do it, and how they operate. It amazes me how many times I go to a business that is just. It's just always closed. I'm like, how do these people make money? Or like, I'll go to a business that's open and I'll go in and I will want to give them money in exchange for whatever good or service they're offering, and they don't even want to take it. They're just like sit there like playing on their phone, and it's just like, wow, like, okay, like like if somebody came into my business and they were like, hey, like I would like to buy some tea from you, I would be like, great, like I have these teas to offer. But if I just sat there and like played on my phone, it's just like, how do you guys do this? It's just I don't know. I don't understand that, but it's kind of funny.
Maybe that person was not the owner. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's just an interesting thing. It makes it nice when we actually do like interact or can meet somebody who actually is like passionate about like what they're doing in China. And those are the people that we end up spending most of our time with. Those are the people that I want to work with. Those are the people who, if I go over there and I've had, like a handful of business experiences with somebody and they've worked out well, and like I'm building a relationship with them, and I'll be honest with them, like, you know what? I don't want to just do like one business deal with you. Like I would like us to be business dealing for years, So if I treat you right, you treat me right, we can work on this a long time. But sometimes they're just like focused on like that one sale, and then they just, So it's
true.
It's actually helped, since we weren't able to go to China last year, and not this year as well. It's actually really paid off the relationships that we've built in the past, because we have to rely on those more heavily now, to do some of the sourcing for us, or like help us out in ways that we didn't need help with in the past. So that's been a benefit. Does anybody have any more Oolong questions, pu'er questions, tea questions, retail questions? Let me know. We've been going at this almost 2 hours now.
Hours, so, yeah.
And so that's only 6. It's only 6:20 in Seattle. It's a nice thing about being this far north. It's going to be light for another 3 hours. I I love spring and summer in Seattle. It's so great. I can still go outside and get some stuff done after this. It's nice. No, this tea was really nice. It was a very good. It's a nice choice that you made. I don't get a chance to drink a lot of oolongs because I spend most of my time drinking pu'er tea. So it was.
I know. I have to push pu'er tea into my daily tea drinking.
So what does your daily tea drinking look like? How does that look like for you?
Morning, not really paying too much attention, just to be honest with everybody out there. I'll actually do a black tea, and then I'll put
Me too.
Black tea, and I'll put a bit of milk in there with my breakfast.
That's basically what I've been doing for the last couple months, because we got a big shipment of Dianhong in from Yunnan, and I absolutely love Yunnan large leaf black tea. It is just so thick and robust, and I'll just boil it. I'll boil it for 10 minutes. I'll pour in some milk. I'll boil it for another 10 minutes, and then I'll strain it out. I try and make kind of like a Hong Kong style milk tea, put a little honey and stuff in there, and that's about it. And put that in a nice big mug, and that's my breakfast. That's my breakfast drink. We are actually going to be branching out and actually like pressing some Crimson Lotus tea branded black tea this year from Yunnan. So we are no longer a pu'er only company. We have stretched, not too far to stretch. It's still the same, same farmers, same Yunnan. It's still a Yunnan tea focused company, but I love Dianhong.
I know, and then so I'll drink the black tea, and then I have breakfast. I go to the shop, and then the morning I call it my real morning tea, and I consider that to be my tea practicing time.
Okay.
That I will do Kung Fu tea brewing, and normally it's with a tea that my teacher produced, and I'll practice one of the teacher's tea very thoroughly. It takes about I don't know, like an hour.
Okay.
And hopefully not get interrupted. That people don't knock on the door.
That's tough too, to find that. Well, your kid's old enough. My kids are always right there. So Lauren wants to know what tea you are most excited about this season or this year.
Oh, I actually good question, and I don't know. And currently, what is on the menu is a tea that Noah went up to the mountains to produce with a bunch of guys, and he called it like traditional high mountain oolong. So I'm extremely curious. And later on, of course, he will be having some time to drink tea with the teachers, and I will see what he finds.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
So another question from GD. Dongding has a specific character. How do you describe it to new drinkers in the shop to help them understand, help them find that character?
Oh, beautiful. Do we have another hour? I will say Dongding tea, watch for the body. I mean, Glenn can tell you too. It smells kind of like a heavy tea, but when it's well done, it's actually really soft, and it spread out a lot. But it contains that softness, and it will glide to your throat, and the throat sensation is really obvious. I think that would be like, at least if you want to call a tea Dongding, please do have this. Dongding tea also have a really signature kind of a fruit taste.
Okay.
I actually don't know what kind of fruit that is. It tastes fruity to me, and everybody kind of agree with that in Taiwan. So go figure that out. And then another feature of Dongding tea is watch for the aftertaste. High salivation tea. It's a high salivation tea. You are not gonna miss that.
Yeah,
and
you're just
within Dongding. Then there's better ones and more basic ones or fake ones. Someday find a fake one and then experience that as well. Dongding tea in Taiwanese tea wise, among Taiwanese tea wise, tend to feel also like stronger physically. That there's a there's a buzz. And for me, dongting tea is not pretty. I won't call dongting tea pretty. I actually always describe dongting tea to people. It's like no offense to middle-aged men, okay? Like middle-aged men.
Yeah.
A little bit grumpy, but full of characters. That's my description.
Yeah, no, these are really good. You know, I mean, because you talked about like the density. I mean, it feels dense. Like it smells dense. Super smooth. Somebody in chat
actually in a
Somebody in chat was talking about, and it's funny because as soon as you mentioned fruity, I was trying to figure out like what I could actually do to describe it. They said poached pears. Poaching being, you know, like kind of like a steaming or a boiling of like fruit that's actually been boiled, because there is definitely a density there, and I get something that's in the stone fruit range, but it's not like biting into a pear. It's not like biting into like a peach or something like that, but something like almost not fermented, but like there's you know, just, I don't know, maybe if you've let some like fresh fruit sit out for a while, something about like the after it oxidizes, something about the way like the smells of that. I don't know, maybe that's similar. So that's that was a good note.
Yeah.
Tell you what, let's see. Last, we'll do one final question here. This is from G Bears 73. For an aspiring tea shop owner in the EU, is there anything you would have done differently when you look back at your business beginnings? Wow.
I would say not really. I won't say my business was big, and in a lot of ways it was actually not. I actually for many years I barely made it actually, you know, and I always like get minimum pay and minimum wage actually.
You got paid?
Because I don't have other job. If I don't get paid, I cannot feed my son.
This is the joke that Lamo and I make, because Lamo, you know, I'll be like, Lamo, you did a really good job this month. We're gonna double your salary. So that's just, I've had my salary doubled like 1,000 times.
$2 to $4, but yeah. I will say that I never regret. It's because of, I guess, my intention from the beginning to right now, that even though sometimes the intention can be shifted a little bit, I feel very proud of myself, and the intention, the integrity, I think stays. And because of that I will not, when it comes to tea, then no. My selection of teas from 2005 to now is basically almost the same list actually. I mean, we add some more stuff. We start to add more premium teas actually. Yeah. But since day one, I had High Mountain Oolong. I maybe Dongting traditional ones, not this much, because it took me time to learn. It took me in 2008, got introduced to this farmer and started to, dang, this is good stuff. What the heck is this, you know? The tea list that the idea that I have with Taiwanese oolongs have been staying in the same place, that I just want to do better and better. If it's come into a business, that if I would do differently in a business, I always, that when people ask me, that I will ask you back, how much making money is important to you? Yeah. Yeah, and if you want to do it this style, you really have to learn. Yeah. And if you just want to just like you run a tea business and make enough money, please do not do this.
Yeah, I think I would. I would.
It doesn't really make a lot of money. If I can just survive, this is good. This is good. This is all I want.
Yeah, I would probably give similar advice. You know, like if I could go back, I would probably have a much stronger conversation with myself about like, is this actually what you want to do? Because if you look at, hey, like we don't have a whole lot of many years on this earth, I mean, if you're lucky,
true.
if you're lucky 80, 90 maybe, but actual like usable like quality years, like once you become an adult, I mean, you've got maybe 40, 40 or 50, like good quality years, like how much of that do you want to put into a business? And so, I mean, the first thing I would be like, if you just got to make sure that you really, 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 really want to do it, because it's not going to be easy. And then the second thing would probably be, if I could go back and tell myself, trust my taste, trust my palate, because early on I knew that I liked something, but I didn't trust myself well enough to know that other people would also like that thing. And so we missed out on crazy deals that we could have made those first 2 years because I didn't trust myself. And so I would only buy 3 kilos of some tea or something like that. I'm like, Lamo, I don't know if people are going to like it. I like it, but now in hindsight, like, because now I go back and I want to get those things that are like obscenely expensive, like if I had actually told myself back then, like, buy as much of that as you possibly can, like, I would. And the other thing is that, just it has to be a business. Like that's the sad reality is like businesses are about making money. Like that if you're not making money, you have a hobby and it's really expensive and you can very quickly go out of business and you can lose your business. So you really need to have everything set and focused on making it a business. And that's hard for some people. It's hard for me. I don't like selling things. I feel like a car salesman. But that's what you have to do. Like if you want the business to be successful, at some point in time you have to sell it, and you have to sell it for more than you bought it for. Like that's like some people get a little stressed out. Like they think online, like they sit and they look at, they try and figure out like what a company's profit points are. And they're like, oh, well, that company's profit point is too high. That's a dishonest company. Like we're going to go with this company here because they don't charge much more. But then that company doesn't last because you can't stay in business very long unless you're actually like making money. And it's just it's a funny thing. You have to make enough money to be able to continue to, when we go to Yunnan, it's not cheap for us to go to Yunnan. Like tickets are expensive, and sure we stay in like cheap hotels, but like that stuff adds up. Like all that stuff adds up, and at the end of the year, you have to have made more money than all of those costs that you had on top of every. There's so many things that people don't really take into account. So we've spent a long time answering that question. But yeah, I guess that's it. You be really sure that you know what you want to do.
Yeah, and just ask some key questions. How it is a business, so can you survive? But how much is that part super important to you, and what does tea mean to you? And if tea does mean something to you, then just you got to keep learning.
That's
just
true.
By making money is important. Just like Glenn said, without enough coming in, well, there's no more of us. That's it, period. Actually, back in 2010, I almost closed down my shop, actually. Floating lifty will be just bye-bye. Because it was very frustrating. I worked so hard and I couldn't bring in enough money. And my son was 3 at the time. And so I had to make decisions around him, because he's like, no matter how much this business is to me, he's the most important piece. And I knew that at the time, if he just like super sarcastic, like, oh, Mom, that's so heartwarming. Anyway, I know that at that time, if I went out to do work for other people or become a waitress, which I did that before, I could make a lot more money. I will own health insurance probably. Not worry about that. But the thing is, I evaluate that at that time, and I say, well, if I do that, then I will never spend time with my son. At least when I own my own business, no matter how hard it is, I drag him to my shop.
I'm the same way with our kids. Like, I mean, especially in this COVID year, I mean, 24/7, they're always there, and it's a blessing and a curse,
It is. And then so when I have that in my mind, then I was just like, well, then then stop complaining, Shiuwen, about other people. The only way that you only have an option.
Yeah.
Move forward.
Yeah.
Find a way to move forward.
That's that's good. I'll leave the stream with this last comment from GD. GD says, "Thank you for coming on, Shiuwen. The community loves your positive attitude and grace. We love your tea and are happy to have passion to learn and sharing that learning with us." So I think that's really nice. GD, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that comment. And thank you to everybody who came on the stream, which was great. Came on and chatted and had a conversation and drank tea with us. I mean, these things have been so beneficial to, I know it's beneficial to me and beneficial to Shiuwen to be able to sit down and have tea with people, which is something that we used to do every day, but with the COVID and things, we can't. And so these things really feel, they really feel genuine, even though like I'm sitting here talking to a camera and we're going over the internet. But these are real tea tastings and they're real events, and like this is something that I'll remember, and I hope everybody else does as well.
Yeah, so. Totally. It's one way. Technology is really good. We use it positively. It's the connection that we can have right now.
That's true.
So awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for taking so much time. I mean, 2 hours is a long time, but I really enjoyed this time. Thank you. And so yeah, floatingleavestea.com. You guys are now shipping from Taiwan, stuff like that. That's so exciting.
Crimson Lotus tea too.
Woo,
shipping from Yunnan and Seattle. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Shiuwen, thank you so much. Cool. This was so much fun. I love having tea with you. You have such a positive energy. It's just so much fun. So much fun for me.
Thank you.
So awesome. And thank you to everybody in the stream. So I will
talk to you guys soon.
Yeah. Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Yeah.